Good morning, everyone. I have a very special guest. I think probably the first person I have had on the show who I don't know personally or I haven't met before the show started. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir, and talk about how we met each other a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Well, my real name is Oliver, and maybe you know me on my alias Doodlelands on Instagram. We met on Instagram a couple of months ago when the start of the pandemic. I picked up drawing after several years, and well, it took a flight from there. So very nice. Well, during the pandemic, we all come to sit at home. So I'm looking for a new hobby, and I picked up this new hobby, Dungeons and Dragons, and start drawing also the maps will come with it. So very nice.
Yeah.
I'm from Holland. I work here on the city of Zettergenbos. It's a small town in the south. And I studied before communication and multimedia design. So it's a little bit of drawing, a little bit of art, some piece of animation and video, filmmaking, but also programming and that stuff, websites.
That sounds super cool. That's such a useful skill these days for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this video is somewhat connected to the world building videos that I've been doing because that's kind of how we met as well. Is that Oliver commented on one of my or liked my post about the first one, and we got to talking. And so what he has done is actually taken the time to draw a lovely close-up detail map of one of the locations from that first video, which is the desert oasis, I believe. Yeah. Awesome. So we have a speed draw here, kind of like when we did with Layla. And so I think we're just going to go ahead and hit play, let it play. And we're just going to kind of talk about his process and how he came to it as it's going. So ready?
Yeah, that's cool.
3, 2, 1, go.
I use my my iPad and my Apple Pencil with it, and I use the app Procreate. So he's generating a little time lapse during the process. It's quite nice. The first part of what you see is the part we discussed. It's in the first time we met. Yeah. The locations. And after that, I start drawing out the rough composition with a thick brush. So it gives a little bit the details around the composition.
It's so cool to see the. Go ahead.
I thought about it. This is a city around the lake.
Yeah.
On your map, it's an old city with a little city wall that's broken off on the edge of the lake.
I love that detail.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a mess because it's quite a, how do you call it? A little pirate place like that. So. A lot of little houses and
not super well laid out, but
no.
But I like it. I love the way it's all clustered together. It definitely looks like it was kind of organically built over time. You know, like you put a lot of thought into the design of it. I can tell.
Yeah. The first thing I do is draw it out in rough sketches. After that, I place on the color palette, so you get a little bit of a sense of how the colors match together.
Yeah.
That most of the time that's giving like a little touch to the how do you call it, the atmosphere of the city.
Yeah, 100%. It's so cool watching you do these little detail bits too, like just adding in the line work now is so intricate. It must have taken you forever.
Well, yeah, that's the most time taking. The little details, especially after all the outlines. So I first draw the big composition, and after the composition is set, I make the layer to 30% opacity, so you can look through it, and then the lines are getting thinner and thinner.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you have the sketch underneath.
Yeah, but it's quite. How do you call it? I don't have to think about it all that much because every house is almost the same. So it's the same process over and over. So I doodle during watching television or listening to a podcast or something like that.
It's very just meditative, long form, just letting it take its time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
That's always so
this
great
part.
about doing big, like intricate drawings like this, is you get to just kind of relax and let it happen.
Yeah, yeah. I got a couple of drawings on my Instagram wall also. Who took about 35 hours, I think. It's
Yeah.
a massive, ambitious project. When you start drawing it out, you think, this is nice. And after you,
And then you're like, oh no, now I have to go in and draw all the little lines. What have I done?
Also one, the city of Amsterdam here in Holland. There's one inspired of that. I never finished that one. It's such a big one. So,
yeah.
Still doing parts of it, but I'm
working
not sure
on it slowly.
Yeah, it is.
How long did this one take you, out of curiosity?
Well, it doesn't take that long. Let me look up.
Because the time lapse is down to like 17, 18 minutes, but it looks like it took you quite a bit of time to get everything.
Yeah, 6.5 hours.
6.5 hours.
6.5 hours.
Yeah. That's a lot of time. People really don't realize how long it takes to do this kind of stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And this is a quite small one, I think.
Yeah.
Bigger ones, more details.
It's a good size for this though. Like it gives us stuff to talk about, but it's not like overwhelming, you know?
Yeah, it is. And well, what's quite funny is I started this drawing thing from Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm not that experienced in Dungeons and Dragons. So you get a lot of DMs through Instagram, like can I use your maps, or can you do a commission or something? But I'm not that sure if it's useful, you know.
I think it definitely is. I mean,
I'm not placing place names or placing numbers in it for little locations. So maybe it's for the future that I'm going to do that one. But
right, like make it more for the game. Yeah. I mean, speaking as a DM though, like, because I'm a DM, I've been doing Dungeons and Dragons for a long time. Like, I don't usually use the stuff that's from the books. Like, I make up my own worlds and things like that. So I almost prefer it when maps are like this, when they're super, like, not vague, but they can be interpreted. So it's like there's not specific names of places or like, you know, number markers already put down. It's kind of nice to just have like somebody who's put a lot of time and effort into like a beautiful map like this, but it's just like a blank slate, and I can go in and add my own location names, things like that, and repurpose it. Because that's one of the beautiful things about D&D is it can be anything, you know?
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a little fancy world, so you can make your own story of it.
Exactly. Who knows who lives in these houses? That's totally up to the DMs to decide. Like, you just gave them all this great template, and they can fill it with whatever they want, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I put on the grid to give it interpretation of size, but most of the times I like the drawings so without the grids and without the numbers or names. So
right,
I leave them out. Yeah.
And it also lets people decide how big things are. Like you could change the scale of everything just by putting a different size grid on it, and it works for anything pretty much. Yeah.
For reference, most of the time, I place a little dot in the. It's on the center, often just right after the gate. That's the size of the person. So I got a little bit of sense of the size, because sometimes I lose myself in the details, and you've got a ship that's going way off in the proportion or something. So
scale is hard with maps like this. Like I've done a little bit of drawing of like maps, not to this level of detail, but I'll often like, you know, if it's a big city map, I'll start down here and the houses will be so big, and then I get over here and they get so much larger, and like the spacing is all different. Like, this isn't even the same world. This part of the map and this part of the map are two different universes entirely.
Yeah, especially if you're working on a digital sketch, so you can zoom in and you can zoom out. So
right,
you can lose lots of the scale. So most of the time, after I draw all the details, and the composition helps at first. But after I draw in all the details, also with the placing of the shadows, you will see later on in this video, I set a grid, some help lines for the direction of the sun, so that you're not going to turn a little bit per house, so the sun is going to rotate all over the place.
There's just shadows crossing over each other.
Yeah. That helps. Yeah.
All right, so you just took the color off here. What's happening now?
Well, I'm drawing the much smaller details on the road. I think I needed a bit more contrast on the background.
Oh, that's super
See what
cool.
I'm
That's a
doing.
great trick.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep that in mind, because yeah, it's so easy when there's like the color to miss out on places you could add texture.
Yeah, and what's quite nice, I didn't mention, or I didn't notice it after a couple of just after a couple of weeks. But when you've got your black and white layout and you got your shadows, and you take off all the colors, it gets quite interesting. I just posted a post on my Instagram about that. But I tried to print these ones, and I'm not sure if you can see this, but the black and white prints with only the shadows are quite
Wow.
contrasty. So it's
Yeah.
quite nice. Yeah.
That looks awesome.
Yeah, I tried it out, and it's quite awesome.
You could
Yeah,
honestly
you can
like
you can
you could
recolor them if you like.
yeah, you could just like it's a coloring book. You should
Yeah,
make like a D&D battle map coloring book. That's your next product.
that would be nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, right now I'm drawing it in different tones.
Yeah, putting some shading.
The old colors are just for reference, so I removed that layer and now filling it up with different tones. Most of the time, 3 or 4 tones per underground. So for the center, a couple of tones, and I get quite creative with all the layers. So I place the layers on top of each other to avoid to color in all the different details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about digital art is the ability to just to have perfect layer blending. You don't have to worry about colors on top of colors and stuff like that.
Well, it's quite handy, and well, I've stopped drawing around I think after my primary school or something, and I just picked it up for a couple of months ago, and so it's not in my nature to draw with pencil or something. So sometimes when I'm on the phone or on a Skype meeting or something, I'm getting it to draw on paper and try to zoom in,
Like, why isn't this working?
one.
I need to see closer.
And also,
there it is.
There we go for the shadowing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about. I mean, I know you lighten it, but like, there's something about having like absolute black in a piece that really just adds a lot of depth. So like, something you could try is finding places once you lighten the shading to have that absolute black stay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. It's I think sometimes I leave them higher than 30%. So.
Yeah.
Get more contrast, especially for the sunny places like this one.
Right. Yeah, because we're in the desert. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love how you really took the elements of the map that I made using Incarnate, like the mesa, like having the raised area and the sand and the trees and everything. Like I love how you interpreted it and like used all of the the stock elements that I was using with the stamps and like made it really come to life here. Going back in for some more shading.
Yeah, and I forgot a couple of boats, so I added the little boats. Also the little shipwreck on the left. So
oh yeah, I see that.
It's done.
And we're done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That came out so good. Thank you so much, man. Like this, it means a lot to have somebody who's like so willing to just openly collaborate and work on stuff together. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's inspiring, and I love the community around this Dungeons and Dragons and all these creative people.
It's such a positive thing.
It's very positive. Everyone is willing to share ideas or share tricks, and I think it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, you're 9 hours ahead, but I haven't had coffee yet, so I'm gonna have my first sip of coffee.
Do that, yeah. I'm going to take a little wine, I think.
Yeah,
let the weekend begin for us. Yeah,
let the weekend begin. Oh, I love that. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man. I guess just to close things off, since we've heard about you and about your whole process, would you want to plug any of those links? Any sites people can find you on, like your Instagram, your store, things like that?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, everyone can find me on Doodlelands on the Instagram. That's my main page to show all my creations and the latest updates. And I started a website on doodlelands.art. That's a little web shop with a couple of my with my maps, and I'm trying to add the best ones to the web store. So give it a shot, and please let me know what you think. That's most important to me. If I can learn and have a great time with this community, I love this. Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, as always, thank you so much to my lovely patrons. There are your names right here on screen. The link to join the Patreon is right here and in the description down below. The lowest tier is just $1 a month, and it does go a long way towards supporting the channel and making sure I can do this for a long time to come. Please go and check out Oliver's Patreon too, because he is doing stuff there and doing more maps, and he deserves just as much, if not more, support, given how very long these take to make. Come on, go show this guy some love. So his Patreon will be down there as well in the description next to mine. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, ring that bell if you want a notification every time I post something new. And we will see you next time for some more map making.
Yeah, let's do that.